Hi, my name is Flo Ruiz, and I'm the training specialist here at Private and Public School F1 Exchange, also known as PSE. I want to welcome everyone to the PSE team and also to our local coordinator training. This is part one of the training. Our training is designed to provide you with information and best practices that will help you reach success as a new local coordinator with PSE. You'll be taking a confirmation of understanding quiz upon completion of this training, so taking notes is highly recommended. Also, you may pause the training at any time in order to catch up on any notes that you're taking. You will be completing some knowledge checks along the way, which will include some of the most important information to gain. Let's get started. In part one of the local coordinator training, we will explore the following topics: PSE and F1 program overview, local coordinator qualifications and responsibilities, a ZAP system overview, recruiting and getting to know your students, host family screening, qualifications, and interview, the student placement process, and developing school relationships. Now we'll take a closer look into each of these areas. PSE and F1 program overview. Established in 2006, Private and Public School F1 Exchange is committed to helping promote international understanding and goodwill through cultural exchange. Student exchange has a very clear purpose. Students and host families are exposed to diverse cultural experiences that foster awareness and interest in the exchange of culture, lifestyle, language, and ideas. In addition, this experience allows students to pursue their academic goals. Therefore, this international experience contributes to the development and education of today's youth and tomorrow's leaders. The Private and Public School F1 Exchange Inbound Program places international students who wish to obtain their F1 visa in high schools across the United States. PSE is listed with the Council on Standards for International Education Travel, or CSIET, and adheres to their placement requirements. We have an outstanding reputation for providing personal attention and service, and our dedicated staff works every step of the way to ensure a successful experience. The PSE corporate office is located in beautiful Portland, Oregon, and includes these dynamic team players. Our regional managers, and field administrative assistant work remotely in different areas of the country. Private and Public School F1 Exchange originated from the need of partners to find an alternative to the J1 program and is committed to helping promote international understanding and goodwill through cultural exchange. PSE places and supervises over 300 new and returning students every year, and we're currently expanding. We work with quality schools across the United States that are interested in enriching their communities by enrolling our international students. Our students are primarily from China and South Korea. However, we also enroll students from other countries such as Thailand, Vietnam, Mexico, Brazil, Spain, Italy, Germany, Japan, and Taiwan. Education, Travel, and Culture, or ETC, is the J1 sister organization of PSE and is regulated by the United States Department of State. PSE is tailored differently than ETC to meet the needs of the F1 market. PSE follows the F1 CSIET requirements. However, PSE is not regulated by the Department of State. Let's take a look at the differences between the PSE F1 program and the ETC J1 program. The F1 visa program is regulated by Homeland Security, whereas the J1 visa program is regulated by the U.S. State Department. For PSE, the I-20 is issued by the school, and for ETC, the DS 2019 form is issued by ETC. PSE adheres to CSIET regulations, so is essentially less strict, whereas ETC adheres to both CSIET and Department of State regulations and is more rigid as there are more requirements. With PSE, students can participate in the program for multiple years, but they need to return home during the summer. Also, the students are not allowed to extend at the school without PSC's oversight. With ETC, the students have a 1-year program maximum. With PSE, the student selects the school or schools, and PSE facilitates the acceptance. Then, the local coordinator recruits the host family. With ETC, the local coordinator recruits the host family selects the student, then the student is accepted by the school. With PSE, the students pay tuition. With ETC, tuition generally is not required. Here are some additional differences between PSE and ETC. With the PSE program, students can graduate. With the ETC program, students may not graduate unless otherwise arranged. With PSE, the age requirements are determined by the school. With ETC, the students have to be between the ages of 15 and 18 years old. With PSE, the host families receive stipends, and per IRS regulations, 1099s are issued annually. With ETC, the host families are volunteers per U.S. State Department requirements, so they may not receive stipends. With PSE, second home visits, or 2VIs, are not required. With ETC, second home visits are required. With PSE, students are allowed to live with family members or relatives. With ETC, it is forbidden for students to live with family members or relatives. With PSE, natural family visits and travel to their home country are allowed. With ETC, natural family visits and travel home are not allowed, except in cases of emergency, so the exceptions are very rare. Local Coordinator Qualifications and Responsibilities. Local Coordinator qualifications include: the LC will need to pass a criminal background check. The LC will need to have a valid driver's license and the ability to travel locally. The LC should have an interest in working with teens and other cultures. The LC should have a cell phone, personal computer, and have access to a scanner and a printer. The LC should be able to resolve conflicts. The LC should be connected to their community. And the LC will also need to provide emergency housing for students as needed. The main responsibilities of a local coordinator are to recruit host families, to conduct host family interviews, host family orientations, and student orientations, to assist with student arrival and departure, student oversight and conflict resolution, completing monthly progress reports or monthly contact forms, and maintaining a relationship with the assigned school or schools. ZAP System Overview. ZAP is the online student exchange application system that PSE utilizes for managing host family and student applications, tracking the placement of students, student flight information, and monthly progress reports. Also, ZAP includes a helpful resource center, which is where we house updated forms, documents, training, and additional resources for students, host families, and PSE staff. PSE offers a complete ZAP system training which is available to you. Please inquire with your RM about this valuable training offering. For our initial LC training, we're going to cover some important features and procedures within the ZAP system. Here's a quick guide. Once you receive your ZAP login instructions, you'll have access to the system. You'll need to enter your username and password. Always ensure that the program start date is set to the correct placement season, for example, January 2017. You can view your students who are available for placing by selecting Available under the student link. You may view a student application in the ZAP system by selecting the Search for Student Applications link, which is located under the Student section. Then fill out the search criteria. From there you can access the student application in two ways. First, by clicking on the Applications icon, or through the SVF or the Student Virtual Folder icon. You may print individual pages of the student application or download the entire document into a PDF file, but only for your own records. Here is a very important note. A potential host family may not view the student's application, including photographs, until they've been fully screened and the placement has been accepted. Recruiting and getting to know your students. It's important to really get to know your students very well. Having this information will help you in your recruiting efforts. Here are some best practices. Read the student's application thoroughly and really get to know the student's interests and limitations, such as allergies to foods and animals. PSE does not make guarantees to our students regarding host families, but we try to take requests into consideration. For example, if a student requests a family with no siblings, or a Christian family, or a family with no pets, or a family who lives close to school, we do try our best to accommodate. Try to find and create the best fit from the beginning. Hopefully, you will have a student and host family placement that will last until your student graduates. Most people like the concept of hosting an exchange student, but won't buy into it just for the sake of world peace. It's easy to say no to a concept. However, it's much harder to say no to a real person. It's important to focus on a particular student and look for people to host them specifically. Find people who will take a personal interest in them and who share similar interests or backgrounds. Now, let's explore how to actively recruit host families. The best way to find host families is through your school communities. Be sure to maintain a close relationship with your schools and let them see how supportive you are to your students and your host families. Get to know your school officials. We want them to think of you when they have a family who's interested in hosting and needs more information. Attend school events like plays and graduations. This is the perfect opportunity to recruit potential host families. When interacting with people, always have a recruiting mindset. You never know who might be interested or who might know someone who is. Ask everyone you come in contact with. Here are some examples. Friends, neighbors, relatives, community welcoming committees, friends of friends of friends of friends, MOPS, which is Mothers of Preschoolers, Mocha Moms, a support group for stay-at-home mothers of color, homeschool groups and associations, police and fire departments, churches including youth directors, church secretaries, parent and teen groups, missions director, choir director, and the worship team, dance studios. Other examples are employee associations, 4-H clubs, athletic leagues, civic concern groups, youth organizations, Boy and Girl Scouts, the Chamber of Commerce, any small business owner groups, for example, women working from home, and community councils. Now, we're going to explore the recruiting technique called reverse networking. This is the method of identifying a student's main characteristics and using these characteristics as a tool for recruiting a suitable host family specifically for that student. Typical networkable features of a student are musical interests, sporting interests, if the student loves animals, if the student prefers to be placed with siblings or without, future career goals, for example, if they aspire to become a doctor or a lawyer, and the student's religious beliefs. Here are some very important considerations to remember when recruiting host families. Only utilize promotional materials that are professional, ethical, and accurately reflect PSE's mission and program sponsorship. If you have any questions about what is appropriate, please consult with your regional manager. Seek approval from the PSE office for any advertising material that differs from the PSE templates. Do not appeal to the public's pity or guilt or imply that a student will be denied participation if a host family is not found immediately. Per PSE standards, ensure that access to exchange student photographs and personally identifying information is only made available to potential host families after they have been fully vetted. This means criminal background checks, or CBCs, a host family application, 2 references, and a home visit and interview all need to be completed before any student's personal information or photographs may be shared. Host family screening and qualifications. Now, let's explore who may host a student. Families with 2 adult parents and children at home. Parents who are between the ages of approximately 30 and 65 years of age. Empty nesters whose children have already moved out of the home. And single mothers with children at home. Here are more considerations. Students need to have their own legal bedroom. Students need to be provided with a quiet study space and desk. Double placements are when 2 international students are placed within the same host family. If the students are of different nationalities and they each have their own bedrooms, then your regional manager and PSE office will need to be notified, but approval is not required. However, if both students share the same nationality, or if the students are not of the same gender, a request will need to be sent to your regional manager and PSE office for approval. This will be allowed only if approval is granted. In general, double placements for students of the same nationality and/or different gender should be avoided. 2 students who speak the same language may not be placed in the same home. As you can imagine, this type of placement could interfere with their proficiency of the English language. The sending organizations and/or students may reject any atypical host family placement. Remember that they're paying a stipend to the host families. PSE does not discriminate against families for race, gender, or religion. However, there are certain circumstances that may need additional qualification. As I mentioned earlier, any non-traditional family structure will require additional screening and may require a signed agreement from the student and their natural family. Let's take a look at some examples. Please notify the PSE office if any of your families fall under the following categories: a single woman without children, a single mother with any adult children living in the home, same-sex couple with or without children, if either host parent is under the age of 30, a host family who has foster or adopted children. If the student will need to share a room with a host sibling, this type of request is rarely approved. If there is a third party, such as a friend, relative, or roommate over the age of 18 also living in the home, we will need 2 references and will complete a background check for any third party living in the house. And if English is not the primary language spoken in the home. Here are some host family qualifications. The family needs to use English as their primary language in the home and among all host family members. The family needs to supply a minimum of 2 personal references. These references need to reside near the host family and may not be a relative or PSE representative. The family needs to provide the student with their own legal bedroom. The bedroom needs to have a door, closet, and emergency access. For example, a basement, garage, or a room that is detached from the house, such as a room above the garage, is not acceptable. The family needs to provide a legitimate bed for the student that is not inflatable or convertible. The student should have a quiet study space and desk. The student should have adequate storage space for personal belongings. And the student will also need reasonable access to a bathroom. As mentioned before, PSE is an academic program, so students require their own bedroom with a desk and quiet study space. Students are very academically driven, and since English is their second language, homework usually takes twice as long as it would for the average American student. Therefore, it's very important for our students to have a quiet study space and their own bedroom. Special exceptions can be made, however, room share situations are rarely approved. The host family will need to supply photographs of all host family members, the home's exterior and grounds, the kitchen, the living or family room, the student's bedroom with a photo of the made bed, the student's study space, and the student's bathroom. Here are some additional host family qualifications. All people living in the household who are over 18 years of age will need to pass a criminal background check or CBC. The family needs to be stable emotionally and financially. In other words, they may not be in receipt of needs-based government subsidies for food or housing. The host family needs to be willing to provide the student with 3 quality meals per day, a quiet place to study, and ensure that the student receives transportation to and from school and some extracurricular activities. Host families need to be willing to provide love, guidance, and a positive American experience, and they should also have an interest in learning about other cultures. Here are some reminders and tips for conducting the host family interview. All host family members need to be present for the interview. Take your camera, the host family agreement form, and the host family interview form to collect signatures. You'll need to capture both the host parent signatures on the interview form. Arrive early and take a good look at the neighborhood. Try to determine if this is a neighborhood in which you would feel comfortable placing your own child. Ask questions respectfully and listen carefully to the responses. Identify any red flags and make sure not to ignore them. In addition, provide honest feedback on the interview form and make a fair judgment on the safety of the neighborhood, the host family dynamics, the cleanliness of the home, and so forth. Also, trust your gut instincts and, again, don't ignore any red flags. Think about if you would place your own child with this host family, in this home, and in this neighborhood. If the answer is no, then this is not a suitable placement. PSE needs to have both a W-9 and a direct deposit form in order to issue a host family stipend. PSE host families are paid their stipends monthly. Please refer to the host family stipend schedule for the payment dates. A few schools pay stipends directly to the host families. These host families do not need to fill out a PSE W-9 or direct deposit form. If a host family does not host for the entire duration of the month, the stipend will be prorated. Please ask your regional manager if you're unsure of the stipend amount for your school or schools. We are required by the IRS to issue 1099s to the host families each calendar year for stipends paid in excess of $600. To generate a new host family application, select the host family or settings link and then click on the Manage Host Family Accounts link. Next, select the Create New link located at the bottom of the page. Next, you will see this screen. Enter the host family's last name, first name of only one host parent, and an email address. Only one host family account and application is required per family. Please note that the email address will be used as a login name. After entering the required fields, click on the Confirm button. Once confirmed, send an email to the host family so they know how to access their application. To do this, click on the email icon and the following message will be generated. Click on the Confirm button to send the email. Once you've selected the Confirm button, an email with a link to Zap, including their username and a link to create a password, will be sent to the host family. You may select Message Preview to view the email. You can access the new host family application by clicking on the host family link and then Incomplete Host Family Applications. The new host family application will be listed alphabetically by name. From this screen, you may check the host family's HFA completion progress by selecting the individual page numbers. Pages 1 through 5 will be completed by the host family. Red numbers are pages that are incomplete. Blue numbers are complete but still need to be reviewed by you for content and accuracy. You can edit the application by selecting the individual page number or by clicking on the edit icon. Remember to click the Save button after you've finished editing each page. Please note that if the host family does not have all of the required photographs uploaded on page 5 of the host family application, then you will need to take them at the in-home host family interview and then upload them into this page of the application. You may use your cell phone to take pictures. Please ensure that all pictures are clear and not too dark. In addition, you are responsible for uploading the host family agreement, host family interview form, and the host family references into their corresponding pages in the host family application. Once the host family application is complete, please inform your regional manager so that they can do the final review. Your regional manager will follow up if any materials are missing or if assistance or guidance is needed. The student placement process. Now, let's take a look at the student placement process. The PSE placement process begins with the student selecting the school or schools. Then, the student is assigned to a local coordinator. You will then recruit the host family and assist with the application process. The family will then be screened. This means that a criminal background check is completed on everyone over 18 years of age living in the home. The host family application is completed, signed, and reviewed. The in-home interview is conducted, and a minimum of 2 references are contacted. Then, the student placement is finalized. A host family orientation is scheduled and conducted. The host family orientation should be done after the host family interview and not on the same date as the HFI. The host family orientation should not be conducted earlier than 60 days prior to the student arrival date. We don't want the host family to forget the information that is conveyed. Also, please keep in mind that the host family orientation is required annually for all PSE host families. Always remember to keep your regional manager and the PSE office informed throughout the process. Developing school relationships. Establishing and maintaining strong school relationships is one of the cornerstones of our program. Please make sure our school officials know who you are and have your contact information. Visit your school at least twice a year or 1 time per semester. The school is a great place to host your student and host family orientation sessions. Where better to find potential host families for international teens than at a high school? Here's a very important point. Students and their natural parents have all signed our terms of participation in which they've agreed to stay on our agency and not to extend directly at their schools without PSE. Now, sometimes the students try to get the host families to take them directly, and sometimes they try to get the schools to take them directly as well. It's important that we maintain a strong relationship at that school to help prevent this from happening. Students may try to convince their host families to host them independently without PSE. Please remind them that without an agency, a host family and/or student will not have local coordinator oversight or assistance, a guaranteed PSE stipend, and the student will no longer have health insurance through PSE. Please report any of these incidents to your regional manager and the PSE office. You have seen most of these common abbreviations and terms in this local coordinator training. Please become familiar with these as you will be hearing them and using them frequently in PSE communications. You may pause this training to review these terms, then press the play button to continue. Here are several common terms for international students. Again, you may pause this training to review these terms. Press the play button to continue. This is the end of the first part of the PSE Local Coordinator training. If you have any questions regarding information contained in this training, please contact your regional manager. Thank you.